Have y'all read this book?
No.
Do we know this book? This looks like, I haven't read this one either, so this will be a fun for us. It's called The Secret Shortcut by Mark Teague.
Mark Teague.
Mark Teague. You know, all these books are written by somebody. So one thing that's fun, once you learn how to read, first thing, you know, that tells you the title of the book. That tells you who wrote it. So think of all these books in here. Somebody wrote all those books. Isn't that neat? That somebody could be you someday. Y'all could write your own stories. And people make money writing books. Well, anyway, The Secret Shell, this looks like an adventure book, don't you think? Two little boys kind of walking through, does that look like a jungle?
That looks like the woods to me.
Look like the woods. Well, let's read and see what this is about. It says on Monday, Wendell and Floyd were late to school. Well, that's not a good start because they should have been on time. But can everybody see Wendell and Floyd? And that looks like their teacher or maybe their principal. They had been captured by space creatures. Uh-oh. And they told their teacher. And she said, that's ridiculous. And she warned them not to let it happen again. But look. There's a picture. Looks like space creatures, doesn't it?
That is space creatures.
It could be, but maybe we don't know if that is, or maybe if that's their imagination, or maybe they just made that up for why they were late to school. But Tuesday was no better. Pirates were loose in the neighborhood, and it was sheer bad luck, but Wendell and Floyd explained when they showed up late for school again. Preposterous, said Mrs. Gernsblatt. So this time, what do we see? And where are Wendell and Floyd? Hiding up in the tree. So that's 2 days now they're late for school.
2 days in a row.
2 days in a row. That's not good, is it?
No.
All right, now on Wednesday, even though Wendell and Floyd left early, a plague of frogs made them late again. Absurd, said their teacher. I'm warning you, tomorrow you be on time or else, and no more crazy excuses. But once again, we look at the picture and what do we see?
Frogs.
Ew, yucky. Would you want to walk to school through a bunch of frogs?
No.
3
days.
All right, so that's 3 days in a row Wendell and Floyd are late to school, right?
Yeah.
That's not good, is it? All right, now let's see. The next thing, it says there's got to be a way to get to school on time, said Wendell. We'll just have to leave earlier. So Floyd arrived at Wendell's house so early the next morning that the sun was just barely up, and Wendell still had on his pajamas. So this time they're determined they're not going to be late to school. No space creatures, no pirates, no yucky frogs. I've got an idea, said Wendell, and he quickly got dressed. We'll follow my secret shortcut to school and get there even sooner. And shortcut, asked Floyd. I didn't know there were any good shortcuts to school. So Wendell says this is the secretest shortcut of all. In fact, I invented it myself. And he led Floyd up the alley by the Ulick's backyard, then down a culvert, over a fence, and through a dense thicket of blackberry vines. So now here's Wendell and Floyd going on our secret shortcut. I think that Wendell's got a pretty big imagination, don't y'all? Okay. They scrambled over some boulders and down a steep bank and across a narrow stream. This is the shortcut, said Floyd. Relax, said Wendell. We'll be there in a minute. But the forest became thicker and darker. And soon it was hung with vines, and the screeches of jungle animals echoed all around. Maybe we took a wrong turn, said Floyd. I'm pretty sure the school is just ahead, Wendell told him. Now look at this. Does that look like a shortcut to y'all?
No.
That looks kind of scary, doesn't it?
I hope it's not 4 days in a row.
I hope not either. But let's see. But the jungle only grew wilder, and when the boys finally came to a trail, it didn't lead to school, as they had thought. Instead, it meandered through quicksand swamps and past large, sleeping crocodiles. Ooh, yeah, look at the crocodiles and the hippopotamus. This doesn't look like school, does it? Oh, my goodness.
Look like that's their school.
It does look like the zoo. And now you see, now they're having to go across this big, deep, rocky gorge on that little rickety bridge. Does anybody see a school?
No.
This doesn't look like a shortcut to me, does it?
No. I hope it's not far from.
I do too. It began too late. This is going to be hard to explain, said Floyd. And they stood in a small clearing, and Wendell said, I have an idea. We'll climb a tree and see if we can spot the school. So now you see they're lost deep in the forest and no school in sight. So now they're going to try to climb the tree and see. They chose the biggest, tallest tree they could find and climbed all the way to the top. Do you see the school? Asked Wendell. I don't even see the town, said Floyd. And they watched some monkeys playing in the treetops. I have another idea, said Wendell. What is it? Asked Floyd. He was getting tired of Wendell's ideas. We'll swing from these vines just like the monkeys, and that way we'll go faster. So now we're stuck up in the trees. Soon they were swinging from vine to vine. This isn't bad, said Floyd. I'll bet we're making good time. I knew this shortcut would work out, crowed Wendell. But at that moment, they ran out of vines. So now they are swinging around, still no school. But now the boys, do you remember they ran out of vines and they landed, plop, plop, in a giant puddle of mud. Yeah. What do we do now? Asked Floyd. I don't know, said Wendell. I'm out of ideas. And they sat in the puddle and thought about all the trouble they were going to be in. Mrs. Gernsblatt will never believe this story, said Wendell. It's just sort of crazy, said Floyd. But just then, from far away, they heard the school bell ring. Did you hear that? Cried Wendell. That was the first bell. We can still make it if we run. And they ran all the way from the jungle to the forest, and the forest became the woods, and then they scurried through the Mortley's backyard and up the hill to the school. And they flew through the door of Mrs. Gernblatt's room and landed squishly in their seats just as the bell rung. So they made it. Yeah, I know, kind of special, isn't it?
Could have been there all night.
They could have been there all night. It says, well, you made it, said their teacher, and just in time. But how on earth did you get so muddy just walking to school? And Floyd looked at Wendell, and Wendell looked at Floyd. On second thought, said Miss Gernsblatt, maybe you'd better not tell. During recess, Wendell and Floyd sat in the sun to give the mud a chance to dry. Well, at least we finally got to school on time, said Wendell. And that's the main thing, Floyd agreed. And in fact, it was quite a long time before they were late to school again. That's the end of our story.